إلا الله.
اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة والدرجة الرفيعة وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته وارزقنا شفاعته برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وصلى الله على محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Unfulfilled. In the midst of pockets of growth and prosperity, the region is marred with widespread poverty, inequality and unemployment. The adverse impact of environmental degradation and climate change is taking its toll on the most vulnerable for no fault of their own. Terrorism, trafficking in women, children and drugs and other transnational crimes pose serious threat to peace and stability in the region. Our intra-regional trade and investment flows remain the lowest in the world, mainly due to constraints like poor physical connectivity, energy shortage and trust deficit. Flow of goods, people and ideas remain constrained and potential under-realized. Implementation of SAFTA is hindered by tariff, non-tariff and para-tariff barriers and suffers from slow progress in reducing the number of items in the sensitive list and constraints of trade facilitation. Challenges abound. However, the region possesses enormous resilience and capacity to transform the challenges into opportunity. We have been able to set norms, build institutions and establish linkages among ourselves in social, economic, trade and environmental aspects. SAARC Development Fund, South Asian University, SAARC Food Bank, commencement of SAFTA, SAARC Social Chapter and conclusion of a host of other regional instruments constitute important milestones. They all provide a basis for cooperation, but achievements so far have not been up to our expectations. Unleashing of the region's full potentials is what our people have been eagerly waiting from us. This is where comes in the importance of the very thoughtfully conceived theme of the present summit, building bridges. Smooth physical connectivity is critical for building bridges in terms of mobility of goods, services, people, ideas and innovation in the region. Present state of physical connectivity poses a major constraint in realizing the long-cherished vision of the South Asian integration. The region still lacks world-class networks of highways, railroads, seaports and air connection. If we have any lesson to draw from other regions, connectivity perhaps comes as the most important element that we cannot further delay in emulating. It is our conviction that development of SAARC multimodal transport system by upgrading existing infrastructure and building new ones, as well as by providing smooth transit facilities to landlocked member states would greatly facilitate deeper integration of the region. The proposed draft regional railway agreement and draft agreement on motor vehicles should be accorded due priority for their early conclusion. Our endeavor to build bridges should touch all dimensions of South Asian lives, be it social, cultural, physical, or in terms of transportation and communications. Regional energy connectivity and energy trade also become important elements in this regard. Yes, we must build physical bridges among ourselves, but more important would be to build the bridges of minds and hearts. We believe regional integration in its real sense can be advanced only when there is an intermingling of people and ideas. We note with satisfaction that the South Asian University has entered into the second year of its intake it is an important achievement that should be complemented by similar other efforts to encourage people-to-people contact, including through collective promotion of culture, music, sports, entertainment, and intra-regional tourism. It's gratifying to note that the idea of creating South Asia Forum as a mechanism for public-private partnership has been realized. The unique nature of this forum may be preserved with an expanded base of participation in the future. Mr. Chairman, trade constitutes the lifeblood of economic prosperity and it should be treated as such. Favorable trade and investment environment kindles economic growth, helps improve the living standards and facilitates a greater interaction among the people. Elsewhere, we have seen example of prosperity bringing about peace and stability, which in turn helps consolidate democracy and mutuality of interests. There is no reason why such an experience cannot be emulated in our region with full implementation of SAFTA in its letter and spirit. Effectiveness of SAFTA is contingent upon crucial factors such as removal of trade barriers, reduction of items in the sensitive lists, substantive and workable trade facilitation measures, and smooth transit facilities. Overcoming the hardships and capacity constraints that the LDCs in the SAARC family suffer becomes important for them to be able to augment their share of trade in the region. Environmental degradation and climate change have posed serious challenges to the well-being of our people in the region. All our countries are prone to the devastating effects of global warming in the form of fast retreat of glaciers in the Himalayas and the dangers posed by the outburst of glacial lakes, sea level rise, and erratic weather patterns and climatic disasters. The trend is likely to exacerbate. While building robust regional institutions and norms to collectively address this common challenge is essential at the international level, they should be complemented by transfer of resources, technology, and capacity building for adaptation and mitigation. Mr. Chairman, the increasing gap between the rich and the poor has given way to enormous stress on social harmony, peace, and security in the region. It's a big blot on all of us that the largest number of poor in the world live in our region. This challenge demands that poverty eradication strategies be comprehensive and socio-economic and political development processes more people-centered, inclusive, and equality and justice-based. Some of the internationally acclaimed poverty eradication strategies such as rural microcredit scheme have their origins in South Asia. They need further development and expansion with focus on women and disadvantaged sections of the society. Despite some quantitative changes, the fundamental politico-economic characteristics of our societies on basic class relations cannot be assumed to have undergone any qualitative change as long as we continue to lack on objective and holistic approach to development and fail to locate the solution in the need to bring about structural change in the existing archaic and retrograde relations of production, especially in the vast countryside. In the context of feminization and ruralization of poverty, our efforts to eradicate it should focus on structural changes in traditional production and social relations, promotion and industrialization of agriculture, indigenous skills and small-scale industries, and empowerment of women and marginalized communities. The existing regional normative standards in the social sector and the SAARC decisions and commitments need to be internalized in the national policies and program. Active and forthcoming involvement of the civil society and the private sector in the region may add value to this process. The success of the SAARC process as a whole will be judged by what we deliver to our people and not by what ritual pronouncements we make. Commencement of the SAARC Development Fund's social window is a welcome beginning in realizing our efforts to eradicate poverty from the region. Its activities can be made more effective if they are harmonized with the priority areas enunciated in the SAARC Social Charter and the SAARC Development Goals. Early opening up of the fund's infrastructure and economic window